What's good, Warrior fam? Welcome to the show, From Weeping to Warrior, Igniting Freedom with Roshawn Nicole, where we talk about all things mental health awareness and wellness. And I interview amazing guests from all over the world, sharing their incredible stories of how they overcame obstacles and trials and what they are currently doing to maintain their mental health and their physical health. If you would like to be considered to be a part of the show and to share your Weeping to Warrior story, I would love to have you on. Hit your girl up at info@RoshawnNicoleWellness.com so you can share your Weeping to Warrior story. All right, friends. Well, welcome back to, we are at episode, what number are we at? Number 13. All right, lucky number 13. This is episode 13. If you've missed from 1 to episode 12, I got you covered. So go back to my YouTube channel, check out these amazing episodes of amazing guests sharing their story of how they overcame obstacles. Let me just kind of give you a little recap here so you know what you've been missing, or if you want to go and rewatch, or maybe send it to a friend or a loved one who you feel needs some inspiration or encouragement. So we have been talking about overcoming grief, losing a child and a mother. We also talked about overcoming past traumas. This one is episode 3. And this one is called From Brokenness to Beauty Queen and Author. Go check that one out. We've also talked about from heartbreak to strength. So overcoming grief as well. Another episode is talking about victory through music. That's episode 5, and that's Tom Taylor. We have Jamel Williams, a triumph over addiction and award-winning singer. So go check out his story. We have an author here from Seattle, Washington, and this is episode 7. And she went from single mother to author, children's book author and poet. Episode 8, this is a real good one. This is also talking about overcoming depression and addiction through functional medicine. Go check that one out. We also, we have so many more episodes, so I want you to go and check those out and leave comments, share them, and share the love. So, all right, so this episode is a very special episode. We're actually not gonna, it's gonna be kind of an interview style, but it's more of gonna be educational and informative. And I have one of my very special friends that I love dearly and grew up with her from probably, I don't even know, I need to ask her. We were probably like 2, 3, or 4. Grew up with her, a really close friend. Her sister is a close friend of my sister. Her parents were a good friend of my parents. And so I'm just so proud of her and her story. But today we have a licensed therapist, and she's going to come on and we're going to talk about some strategies. We're going to dive deep into mental health, and we're going to talk about how to combat that, some strategies she's going to teach us today. So I'm super excited. So stay tuned. And in just a minute before we bring her on, because I'm going to read her bio. So before we bring out Miss Larkita Demps, let me read her bio. We have Larkita Demps is a mental health professional who holds a master's in clinical mental health counseling from Seattle University and a BSW, which is a bachelor's in social work, from Methodist University. She's born in Tacoma, Washington. Woo woo, that's where we reside now. She has dedicated her career to supporting children, young adults, and families through various agencies, driven by her passion for mental wellness and service. She is the CEO and owner of Renew Counseling and Coaching. Let's welcome this warrior queen from Tacoma, Washington to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Hello, Larkita Demps. But I know Larkita as I told her, I said, girl, you know I'm going to call you Kita on the show. We grew up together. I've been knowing you since how old, Kita? Like, how old were we? 2, 3?
Birth. Like, I'm thinking, yeah, our moms were pregnant at the same time. Yeah.
So, yes. We're not going to tell our age though. So, but you know.
We'll leave it at birth.
So for a long time, we've been knowing each other for a long time, right? Yes. So I'm just so proud of Kita, and today she's gonna come on today she does have an incredible story. She is definitely the true epitome of a warrior queen. But today she's going to talk about just her journey of being a mental health therapist. And we have some questions. I have some questions for her that I think the public would love to hear. And so first, before we get started, before we jump in, Kita, just tell the audience, and I know I read your bio, just a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, like Roshawn said, well, I'll probably call you Sean, right?
Yep. Okay.
Sean and Kita. I'm born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. And then when I was about 15 years old, we moved and relocated to North Carolina. So that's where I graduated. I'm from college there with my undergrad in school social work, more specifically school social work. I did that for a little bit. And then I relocated back to the area, to the Pacific Northwest. And coming right out of college, it was hard to get a job. Right? So I was working at the church daycare at the time, Children of Hope there, Greater Christ Temple. And then I ended up doing insurance for State Farm for about 10 years. It was a long time. Yeah, it was a long time. And it was at that job that I realized corporate America is not for me. I felt like I had a gift with working with people that was not being used. But it just took me so long to kind of figure out what that would look like. Fear held me back for a long time.
Okay.
And so I was finally had the opportunity to go back to school. And so I was going to go back and get my master's in social work because that is where I was comfortable at. That's my undergrad. And God said, nope, you're going to do clinical mental health. And so I ended up going back to Seattle University after a 12-year gap. Right?
Wow.
So after 12 years to go back to school and talk about, again, something that was scary, fearful. But I knew how to do it. I had a passion for helping people, and I wanted to do it more so on a clinical level. In mental health, I was more curious about mental health. I didn't know a lot about it, like being honest, into the field myself. I had never been to therapy at that point. And so, it just worked out for me to be able to start the program and get my master's in clinical mental health. And I feel like I am where God wants me to be. And like I said, it's a gift and I enjoy doing this work. And so, I really enjoy it.
And now she is the CEO and owner of Renew Counseling and Coaching. And we're going to have her talk more about that too. So I'm so proud of her and just seeing all the work that she's doing and seeing Kita just post, she's talking to the public. She's going into schools, talking to teens. And I'm just like, because we need more of that. And I'm just like, yes. So when I see people doing this work, I'm just like, yes, because we need more of that. Just normalizing therapy and going to counseling and using those tools and those skills. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, Larkita. And I'm so excited to dig in. And so my first question for you, my friend, is like which you kind of shared a little bit. And I don't know if you want to go in more details as far as like what inspired you to become, a mental health therapist. I don't know if you want to dive deeper into that. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So I dealt with postpartum depression myself. After having my son, Austin. At that point, no one had talked to me about postpartum depression. I thought I was losing my mind. I was like very unfamiliar with like asking for help, seeking help. In my culture, and when I say my culture, I mean like the Black culture as well as Christian background.
Yeah, for sure.
No conversations around mental health. What we're told is that you go to the altar, you pray about it, you don't claim it, right? Like off all these things.
You're not praying hard enough. You need to fast more.
Your faith isn't strong enough. And that leaves like a lot of guilt. Like I'm doing something wrong. And it's not that's not true. That's not true. I am experiencing something that us as human beings, right? God gave us. He knows and he knew what the challenges we would face. And so someone ended up talking to me about and educating me around what was going on with me, right? Postpartum depression. Got on medication. And then when I ended up going back to school for clinical mental health, again, it was not a lot of people who looked like me, talk like me. Did research and found there's only like 2%, maybe 3% of Black people, Black females in mental health.
Oh, really? Wow.
This is needed. I need this, not just for myself, but for my community. Right?
Wow.
People out here, that there is a lot of stigma around asking for help. There's a lot of barriers to care, right? The cost, the shame, the guilt, all of those things. I even think about Sean when I first told my dad I was going back to school, which he promoted like education for sure. But when I was like, yeah, I'm going back to be a therapist, he was like, we don't do that. He was like, if you tell people your business, people tell
right.
Yep. He was like, I don't know about this therapist thing, right? It was just foreign to our family and our community. But then when I stopped to think about, man, all the trauma that we actually endured, like we need to talk about
We
this.
need to talk about it. Yes.
From this.
Yeah.
I tell my clients a lot that, you know, trauma can be passed down through families. So can healing. So can healing, right?
Yes.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of different pieces to answer your question that really led me into wanting to focus on mental health, right? My own background, my own story of how it made me start thinking about every time I heard somebody have a baby, I'd be reaching out. I'm here if you need me, right? Like, the supportive piece of showing up for people really is what put my heart in this place of becoming a mental health therapist.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you wanted to take your own experience and, you know, go and get educated on that so you can help others. Beautiful. Love it, Kita. Yes. So I know counselors and therapists specialize. They have their own special, like I went to go see a therapist when I was going through my trauma, an EMDR specialist, which was amazing. I mean, and what we're going to have her come on and talk a little bit more about that in future episodes, you know, if you're going through trauma. But I would love for you to share, like, what is your, you know, your specialty? Because it says that you specialize in trauma therapy. So tell us a little bit about, it's called Lifespan, which I'm familiar with that as well. I did a little bit of that when I was in treatment for 2 months, and very, very powerful, friends, like very powerful. This is another way of, like, you know, going into your trauma, and Kita will talk more about that. But I just want to encourage those who are listening or watching today, if you're looking for, you know, something for your trauma, past traumas or something that you might be experiencing, LI, right? LI, or Lifespan Therapy, or EMDR. It's so powerful. So Kita, if you could just share more about that, love to hear about that.
Yeah. So I'll answer the question first about trauma therapy, my specialty. So when I went back to school, I wanted to do play therapy. I was like, okay, this is
what kind of therapy?
Play therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah.
So
okay. Like, I'm going to do play therapy. I can have background working with children in the schools, little ones in daycares. So I was like, oh, this would be perfect, which I thought, right? But then a traumatic event happened to someone really close to me. A racial trauma happened to them. And I realized, again, there's a need for therapists in this specific area of racial trauma, of really being able to not just do like talk therapy, which is great. Talk therapy works, right? But there's this deeper need for someone who can really understand and comprehend the cultural aspects of what individuals go through when it comes to racial trauma. And so that's where trauma came from, where I was like, oh yeah, I really want to learn more about this. So within that, since graduating, I've worked with families who, I did my internship at called Vine Maple Place, and they work with families who are facing homelessness. In a lot of those situations and scenarios, there were families who were victims of domestic violence. And so I worked with domestic violence families. My youngest client that I saw there was 4 years old. So at that time, I was seeing kiddos as young as 4, and then on up through adults, men and women, because I tell people men are not excluded from DV situations, right? More recently, I am going through training to work with the perpetrators of domestic violence.
Interesting.
When my supervisor mentioned it, I was like, I don't know about that. Right. Very quickly, I was like, you know what? These individuals are hurting. there's something that needs to take place within these individuals as well. The current training that I'm going through to be certified to do that work as well.
Okay. Wow.
You mentioned LI. So here's the thing about LI. Yeah, when I first was introduced to LI, I was like, right?
Right. Yeah. Same here. Right. Same here. I was like, yeah.
Does this really work? And mind you, I'm still fairly new at it, right? There's 4 levels of training, and I've completed 2 of the 4.
Yay, good.
Just to kind of explain what LI is, it's lifespan integration. And I tell people, I start off with this. Have you ever done a connect the dots? Like you get this piece of paper and there's dots all over the place and you're looking at it and you can't make sense of it, right? Because just dots on a page, right? That's how our life experiences are sometimes, right? They're just like experiences that are just floating out here in our brain. What life integration does, it helps to connect those dots, right? To help make sense of what has happened to us in the past, but also bring us to the present to know that we are no longer living that is a part of us. Right. It's not who we are, right? It's not who we are. And so what that looks like is, as a therapist, we have the clients write out a timeline, or we do it together with life events. I'll give an example of myself because I've done LI too. There was an experience that happened when I was 16 years old, right? And so from 16, then we did 18, then we did 20, right? All the way up until however old I am. We said we're not disclosing.
Right.
And so what the therapist does is they read that timeline and the brain and the body works together, right?
Yes.
Tell people the brain is so powerful.
Oh, yes.
So powerful.
Yes.
And the nervous system, we do not talk about it enough. But so I was able to, through that session, have 16-year-old Kita kind of come into the present with my present self and walk around my current home and remind her that she's safe now, right? Things that happened to you at 16, it had caused you to let things trigger you when you were 20. It may have caused you to respond in a certain way when you're 30. But here we are now in the present, and you have these skills. You have these things that you're able to put in place to protect yourself, right? So LI is so powerful. Even after the sessions, like when you go home and you sleep, your brain is still rewiring and doing that work to remind you that you're safe. And the thing I like about LI is that it's gentle, right?
Yes.
It's not like super focused on the traumatic event, but it is in taking you through that timeline of reminding you that reminding your nervous system that we're good now, we're safe.
Yeah. Because our subconscious mind too is so powerful, because we could be reacting to our traumas in our past, right? Like, and that's what, I don't know if you read the book, like The Body Keeps Score, with just like our bodies keep score of our trauma. And so when I experienced LI first, I thought, like you said, I was like, when it was explained to me, I'm like, this is weird. No, I'm not.
Yes.
I was like, huh? I'm doing what? Is that really gonna work? Is this food? You just kind of, like, huh? But like my first experience, when I did that, I closed my eyes and we went through like that timeline, and like there was something that came up that I totally forgot about. Like that came up and I was like triggered, and I mean just crying, and it was a release cry though. But like, so just like you're saying, Larkita, like it's powerful, it's amazing. And I don't know if you want to speak to those who are listening or who are watching, like the what is it, like the powerfulness of it, of LI, like letting them know like this really does work. So yeah.
And what I'll say a lot of times with working with people with maybe like childhood trauma, a lot of them come and they say, I can't remember my childhood. Right. And of course, like you block it out because your body is wanting to protect you from that hurt and harm. But what LI does, it brings it back up again in a way that you're able to release. Like you said, you experienced, you're able to release it. And it is, I mean, again, when it was first introduced to me, I'm just like, sitting reading the timeline over and over. But our brain and our nervous system, the way that it's able to work on its own, like in that way, so so very powerful and so healing. It is so healing.
Yes,
I guess
it
at talk
is.
therapy, I mean, there's so many different types of therapy.
Mhm,
It's beautiful too, and it
mhm,
works. And, you know, I've
mhm,
had people come to me and said, "Hey, I've done LI, but it
mhm.
really didn't work for me in a way that I wish it would have." And I think that's the beauty about therapy, is that there's so
Mhm.
many approaches and so many
Yes.
different ways of doing it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and so
Yeah.
it is very powerful. It's very powerful.
And that is actually what I wanted to talk about, because it was one of my questions, because I had a conversation with someone not too long ago. And so we were talking about going to counseling, therapy, and they were going to just like talk therapy. And they're like, you know what? I've been going to talk therapy for like 3 years, and it's great because I'm just releasing. I'm just like, like they say, I'm just like empty and just, sharing everything, my emotions, sharing what's going on. And they're helping me to regulate my emotions and all that. They're like, it's great, but it's just not working. So they were saying like, I think I'm just going to stop going. And so I always share with people, and you could probably, I'm sure you could speak to this, Larkita, in regards to those who are saying like, talk therapy is great, but counts, they just kind of just X out all types of modalities. And I'm always sharing like there's so many different modalities, and people are not aware of that, like LI or lifespan or EMDR or different types of. And so I tell them, don't give up. You just have to find the right, first of all, the right therapist, who you can connect with. And then, also the modality of like, what do you need? Because LI is more for like those intensive trauma. I'll let you speak on that, girl. I'll let you talk about that. So yes, if you can speak to that, to those who are just saying like, I'm going to counseling, it's not working for me. What would you say to the audience?
I always suggest for people to do consultations, right?
Okay.
If you are searching for a therapist, find out if they do. I offer like a 15-minute free of charge consultation to see if we're a good fit, right?
Yes.
And I tell clients when they reach out, I ask them if they know anything about modalities and different therapeutic approaches. If they don't, that's okay. We can explore that together. If they do, I try to find out what works for you, right? What hasn't worked for you. I think it's so important. Therapy is an investment into self, right? And so I even tell clients, after the first meeting, if I'm not a good fit, let me know.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to sit here and waste your time. Like, it is okay. I want you to show up and get what you need. And so I've had a few clients, and I know probably early on in my career, I was just like, man, I couldn't help them, or I felt bad. But after I'm like, no, girl, it's about people healing. Yes. And so I just would encourage people to speak up.
Yeah.
Speak up. I also encourage my clients, we'll have check-ins after, 3 months, 6 months. What's working? What's not working? I know a lot of people do CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and a lot of people are totally against it. And like you said, okay, try something else. There's art therapy. There's maybe group therapy. Maybe a group would help, right? Like so many different types of therapies. So not give up. Don't give up. It's more than just talk therapy out there. But shop around. And I don't want to say shop around because I know therapy can be expensive, but shop around as far as like doing consultations with therapists.
Yes.
15-minute engagement with them to find out what modalities they offer. And just they're a good fit. I've had a therapist or two that I had consultations with, but I was like, this is not a good fit.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And you got to find that personality too, because my counselor that I had was like this, Roshawn, blah, 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 blah. And I needed that. I needed somebody to kick me like, no, for real. And, and I was like, I love her because she just tells me she's real, and I need that, and that helped me. I needed that personality where some people are like, I can't take that. That's just too much. I'm going to run. So finding that personality. So,
I do, during consultations, I share with my clients that I do understand, like for those who maybe are new to therapy, they just really don't have an idea of what works and what doesn't work.
Yes.
But again, as we're moving along, a client comes to mind where I was like, okay, so your homework or affirmations are to, create these affirmations. And they were like, affirmations do nothing for me. And I was like, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So we explore other things that would possibly work for them. So yeah, do not be afraid to speak up and shop around as it pertains to like doing consultations with different therapists. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Kita, so are there any other types of myths, and misconceptions that people have about trauma and the healing process? Because then you kind of spoke a little bit about that, but do you want to add more to that?
Yeah, well, I could talk trauma all day long, but
yes, girl.
I think when people hear trauma, they think of like this really big experience that has happened to someone, and yes, that is true. Trauma can be, abuse or like a real big event that has happened, but also there are different forms of trauma. Like I mentioned, racial trauma. I see individuals, and we work through different parts of racial trauma. Religious trauma, right? That is a big one that I see quite often in my space. Acute trauma, right? It doesn't have to be this repeated incident. It could be a car accident, right? That left you with some feelings around not being able to cope. I tell people any experience that you're finding really hard to cope and to kind of find a balance in life can be traumatic. It can be traumatic. So it doesn't have to be a big experience or a big event that has happened to you in life, right? Another thing that comes to mind when we're talking about myths, and this actually came up in a conversation around grief, where people say, oh, time heals all, right? It's just like, well, okay, we appreciate time, but time doesn't do the healing, right? It's the blessing, it's the
process.
It's the work. I know mental health and therapy in our society right now, there's more conversations than I've ever heard. I love it. Like, yes, keep this buzz going. But therapy is work. When you come into therapy, it is work, right? And so again, time doesn't heal all wounds, right?
Yeah, it's what you do with that time, right?
With that time. Again, another thing I tell clients is when they come to me, I'm like, yeah, we can be here 3-4 years from now. I said, but I don't want to be working on the same exact thing. Right? No. I tell them I will give you that gentle push because I love to see healing happening. And that's at different paces for different people. And that's okay. Right?
But
that's again, we're going to utilize this time, right? Because just time passing isn't what heals the wounds. It's the work that we put into it during our time together.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. I know I hear that all the time. Time heal. I'm like, no, it's what you're doing with that time. Like you said, it's a process. Yes. Beautiful. Yes. So Kita, what are some, practical everyday tips that you would recommend for, caring for our mental health? Some practical tips that those who are watching or listening could take and apply, today and use it as a daily practice.
Yeah, you'll hear me mention the nervous system so much because I feel like it is the biggest communicator with us, and we don't listen to it enough. Right? We do not listen to our bodies, and our body is constantly speaking to us, whether that is through pain, whether that is through like tightness in the shoulders. I tell people I tend to like do my shoulders like this by the end of the day because I carry the weight of like my clients' stories.
Yes.
Remember just to relax.
Girl,
so even if you're watching this, unclench your jaws, right? Relax your shoulders. Like slow down.
Yes.
Somatic. Some people say body work, but I just call it somatic practices of where we are listening to our bodies. I know kind of cliche therapist, saying is, and how does that make you feel? Right. I love it. But I like to ask people, where do you feel that in your body?
Yes.
Where do you feel that in your body? Is your stomach getting tight when you're talking about that relationship, right? Is your heart racing when we're bringing up a scenario or a situation? Where are you feeling it in your body? Because your body is constantly speaking to you. So that's the first tip, is listen to your body, right? Listen to your body. I also tell people a lot of mindfulness, which is simply being present. Being present, which again, in our society, when things are so fast, everything is go, go, go. the latest this, the latest that. We're moving
Yeah.
so quick through life, but just really slowing down and
Mhm.
being present with yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that can be so hard to do because we wear so many hats, right?
Yeah.
We're daughters, we're wives, we're mothers, all these different things. But
Right.
be present to yourself to really get in tune with what it is that you need.
Mhm.
What it is you need, right?
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Like asking yourself, what do I need right now? What do I need? Yeah. I love that. Mhm.
Not what happened yesterday, not the mistakes
Yep.
that I made yesterday, not
Mhm.
what's going to happen tomorrow, but what do I need right now in this present moment, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I also tell people a lot of times we are so attached to our phones and we're constantly looking at the battery life, looking for a charger, looking for a plug. But we don't treat our bodies that way. We wait until we are depleted.
Yes.
To connect and to recharge.
Yes.
So again, it goes back to just slowing down and paying attention to this daily renewal. Right? And every day is going to look different. I tell people again, I get some of my finance people or people who are like in corporate and they do a lot of planning, do a lot of budgeting. I said, well, what about budgeting your time? How much time are you giving to this person?
Right.
How much time are you giving to this scenario? How much time are you giving to these anxious thoughts that you're having?
Yes.
How much time are you giving to fear? Right? And really incorporating you into your daily budget.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Another thing here in the Pacific Northwest, and this is really anywhere, is nature.
My favorite. That's my favorite.
I'm like, why am I late to this whole nature thing?
Absolutely. It's so funny, Kita, because we born and raised here, here in Washington State. We have the mountains, we have the trees, the greenery. And until I started like going through therapy is when I really start to appreciate it. And I start to realize when I just go outside in my backyard and breathe, I'm like, that totally changed my mood. Like, girl, yes, it's powerful. Nature.
It's so powerful. And I tell people, even if you don't have the energy to put on your hiking boots and go out on the trail and do all that, simply taking off your shoes and putting your feet to the ground.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
It is so powerful and grounding. It helps ground you. So the use of nature is a really big one. Laughter. I love telling people, put on a funny movie, put on something that brings you joy. I tell people these pockets of peace and these moments of just laughter when the rest of the world around you is chaotic. It's okay just to zone in on something that really just brings you just inner joy. I love laughing. I love being and having a good time. So if with your girls, if that's with your boys, or just by yourself at the house,
right?
Favorite comedy or something. There's so much power in laughter.
Love it. I was sitting here taking notes.
Oh, okay.
So yep. So I can review this with the audience, making sure that they're taking notes too, because Larkita's talking about some good nuggets that you can apply, and so I'm just going to review those for the audience listening and watching. So the practical everyday tips that Larkita recommend is listen to your body. So your body is always talking to you. What are you feeling in the moment in your body? Being present is the second one, and practicing mindfulness. The next one is to connect and recharge. So connecting and recharging, putting yourself on the calendar, right? Recharging. What are some ways that you could recharge? The next one is grounding yourself, which I love that too. And that's just going outside, barefoot. And another thing I want to add, that I'm learning about in my certification program is doing that during sunrise and sunset. That'll help your circadian rhythm with your sleep-wake cycle. So if you do that in addition, there's an additional thing that can help you with your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle if you're having issues with sleeping and waking up. So just want to add that one in. And then laughter, Rakita said. So these are great. So great practical tools that we can use. Love them.
I want to add one more, Roshawn, is limiting social media. Right? Watching how much you're consuming of social media and the news. I mean, there's so much happening in the world right now, and we have access to it just swiping up our thumb. and
Yeah.
you'll look to be connected for hours and hours. And
Mhm.
again, the brain and the nervous system
Yeah.
is in alert, and you're not even noticing the effect that it has on your body, but really
Mhm.
disconnecting from some of that social media and news really kind of helps with your mental health too.
Yeah, for sure. So what would you say, what would you recommend for someone who's doing that? Would you say like to completely cut it off for a certain amount of time, or like eliminate it on a daily basis? Like what would you say to like a client or someone who's asking? Because it can be hard. I mean, it's they say it's, as you would probably could speak to, that it's like an addiction. So like how would you walk someone through that? Yeah. Well,
Yeah. And then here's another thing. I want people to stay informed, right? Yes,
Okay.
a lot is happening in the world, so stay informed. I
Yeah.
think it would take like asking yourself, like, how much is too much,
Okay.
right? There's some
Yeah.
people who are like, okay, I'm on it for an hour and that's good enough for me. I'm caught up for the day. Some people are like, hey, I just need to check in quick 10 minutes to see what's
Yeah.
happening, and that's good enough for me. But for those who are just like, oh my gosh, like I feel like it's hard to put it down. I don't know about Androids, but I know iPhones have a way where you can
Yes.
set up in your settings, right?
Yep.
To manage how much time you're on an app, to check in to
Mhm.
see how much time you spend on an app. Utilize those tools, utilize
Mhm.
those, right? And then get outside. Put your
Yes.
phone down and get outside. I tell my kids all the time, get off that game, go get some fresh air. The same
Yeah.
thing with me. Put it down, step away, and find something else that really your nervous system,
Mhm.
your nervous system, and
Yep.
the body appreciates, where it
Mhm.
doesn't, when you sit it down, you're not feeling so anxious, right?
Mhm.
And fear driven, something that
Mhm.
brings joy, whether that
Yeah.
is sitting in the family room and connecting with family.
Mhm.
I work with a lot of young people around social anxiety, but I also
Okay.
know adults where the pandemic really did a number on us when it
Mhm.
comes to
Yep.
isolation, and we have
Mhm.
forgotten how to engage. And that's another thing, community. There's so much
Yeah.
healing in community. And
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, finding different things to do and then just monitoring how much is too much for you based on the individual person.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Yep. Great advice.
Mhm.
Great advice. So, Larkita, so how do you, approach clients who may feel stuck? They're feeling stuck, or maybe in their old patterns, or past pain. How do you support them through that journey?
Yeah. First and foremost, I normalize it, right?
Okay.
Saying
Yep.
this is a normal human experience, that
Mhm.
we do get stuck. We get stuck
Mhm.
in life because life is hard,
Yeah,
right?
life is hard.
Hard. But so normalizing it, but also providing a safe space for them. And I know
Okay.
sometimes that can sound super cliche, but I'll give you an example. I was
Okay.
working with a family who was going through a domestic violence situation.
Mhm.
And I was seeing the families was mom and her children.
Mhm.
They came in for session. Mom sat down and she just like fell in the chair, like she was just depleted. Like you can tell
Mm.
she was just tired. She needed
Mhm.
that moment just to be.
Mhm.
So I met them, that family, where they were, right?
Yeah.
Okay, today, you sit over in that corner and you just be, while I do the play therapy on the ground with the kiddos, right?
Mhm.
So meeting clients where they are, normalizing their
Mhm.
experience, providing a safety space for them
Yeah.
to start unraveling what are the patterns that's causing you to be stuck, right? I always tell people, sometimes you come into therapy and you're like this ball of yarn that is just like life experiences are all wind up and tied up. And it takes time to undo those knots, right? So we explore patterns. What's been going on in life that's causing you to feel stuck? Where is it that you desire to be?
Mhm.
I think that piece provides hope, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, for
I can
sure.
see it right now, but where is it that you desire to be?
Yes.
Sometimes that's hard to see when you're in the midst
Oh,
of
for sure.
knots and tangled up. But sometimes it's a really good reflective piece to say, okay, there is hope. Like I have
Yeah.
something, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm. Yes.
I just always revert back to mindfulness of being present. Like,
Mhm.
what can we do today to make sure that you show up tomorrow?
Yes.
And we're not
Yes.
worried about what tomorrow's going to bring. We're just trying to get you to tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes that could feel overwhelming too. Like when you're thinking of all the things, to get to where you want to be. But just like you said, just those small baby steps of like, okay, what are we going to do tomorrow? How are we going to show up tomorrow? Yeah. So I love that. And just providing, like you said, that safe space for them so then they can be vulnerable and, transparent to share. So I think that's, love it. Yes.
Another piece, Sean, if I can add is,
for sure.
Of course, with the client's permission, is helping them just change their perspective.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of situations and scenarios we have no control over. I have clients do this exercise where they draw 2 circles, one small one and then one big one. Okay. Right. On the outside of the circle, we're writing all the things that are out of our control. Right. The way that people view us, the way that people, their behaviors, their attitudes. Right. And then on the inside, the smaller circle, we're writing things that are in our control. And that's our bullseye. That's where we want to focus at, things that we can control. Because there's a lot of things in this world that are out of our control, but our mind takes us there and we want to operate in that space. And that's where we get stuck sometimes because we want change there, but we don't have any control over that. So we want to focus on that smaller inner circle, and I call it the bullseye. That is where your focus needs to remain on, what do I have control over? Let me change my perspective, right? Instead of focusing on this outer piece of having no control over other people, scenarios, I'm really focusing on what I can work on.
I'm free. No more chains, stop binding me. I'm free. I can lift my hands in victory. Ain't nobody stopping me. Look at what you done to me. Pack your bags and leave. See the sunlight now, but I still feel the rain. Time keeps moving, but I still feel the same.
This is some great nuggets. All right. Yes. We getting some free therapy today. All right. Love it. I could talk this all day. And like you said, you could talk this trauma all day. Yep. So Larkita, what advice would you give, to someone who's considering therapy, who feels nervous? I've heard that from people, they're nervous about it, who's never had it, or they're unsure about like the process. Like, what advice would you give to someone?
Yeah, I'm going to echo the consultations, right?
Okay.
Sure. I think finding the right therapist is key. It is key to a successful healing journey. Yes. And I will also say that there are a lot of resources out there for therapy, right? Do your research. Do your research and finding out what, again, may or may not work for you. I know there's a huge stigma around therapy. Again, I dealt with it myself within my own family. Becoming a therapist, going to therapy, of really just trying to figure out, okay, what is this whole therapy thing like that everybody keeps talking about, right? Also, giving yourself grace, knowing that healing is a process.
Yes.
It's a process. It is not a one and done. Like I said, there's some clients that has been with me for years. Right? And so it is a process, and to just show yourself some grace and have the conversation with other people. Talk to a friend. Hey, I'm thinking about doing therapy. Have you been to therapy before? Like really just normalizing, starting the conversation and the talk around not being okay.
Yeah.
Right. Not being okay. I need assistance. I need help. Because I think there's this shame that is really still attached to mental health.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we've gotten a little better, but we have a long way to go. Yes. A long way to go.
So, even the systems, not to get, too political with politics and the systems of like the barriers of getting into therapy. I mean, it's hard to get into therapy sometimes. You know, I do see quite a few sliding scale clients because again, I'm like, I got into this to help people. And we just live in a really unjust system that isn't promoting mental health and making it accessible to all people, right? People, you're coughing, you have a fever, your arm is broke, you're going to go to the doctor, right? Like no questions asked. You're going to seek out medical advice. Do the same thing for your mental. Do the same. Yeah.
Yes. It's, you know, if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, it's an invisible, they call it invisible illness. So you can't see it, like you just said, like a broken arm or a broken leg. And then also on top of that, people are so good at masking and hiding it. So there's another thing as well. So
with the masking part, there's a lot of people who have functional depression. Functional anxiety. You're still getting up, you're going to work, you're providing for your family, you're doing all the things, but then you're suffering in isolation and you're suffering alone. And I think this is a beautiful platform, Sean, because it is helping these conversations start, right? And normalizing that. And what really blows my mind is that we all have mental health. I don't care your gender. I don't care your color, your race, your religion. As human beings, every person experiences mental health.
Absolutely.
Yet do not talk about it enough. Yet there are not enough resources out there for everybody to heal and to go through the process of healing.
Yes.
Every single human on this planet has mental health. Yes.
And Kita, I want to share a little story in regards to that, because a couple years ago, someone told me, I can't relate to your story. I've never experienced anxiety, depression. I never experienced any of that before. And they're like in their 50s and stuff. And I looked at them like, you're lying. I was like, you are lying. You mean to tell me you never experienced some? I mean, and I understand there's clinical depression, correct? Right. Like, you know, clinical depression, but also there's times where I'm sure you might have experienced some type of depression or low, you know, or mood swings or anxiety, something. You can't tell me you're just perfect. So my reaction was really, okay. And I just kind of walked away, but
listen, I tell people, if you are living and breathing, you have experienced a sad day. You have experienced the feeling of hopelessness. You have experienced, you know, being fearful of something. It may be at a different level, right? There's clinical and there's different. There's people who come to me and maybe we just need to connect for a month, right? They're just going through a hard life transition and need somebody to walk alongside of them. And then again, there's people who, and one's not better or easier or harder, but living and breathing. You are experiencing mental health. I even tell this story of my kids. So there's Austin and Carson, and Carson came to me the other day and he was like, Mom, I think Austin's depressed. And I'm like, what's going on, buddy? He's like, he's just going in his room, closing the door, and he doesn't come out. And I said, well, maybe we can have a conversation with him. And so I pulled Austin in. Mind you, Austin's 13 now. And so I said, okay, you can talk to your brother, tell him, you know, your concerns. And he says, Austin, I'm worried about you. I think you're depressed. And Austin's like, bruh, I'm just a teenager. Like, this is what... They're probably going to kill me for telling the story. But he's like, this is what we do. We go in our rooms and close the door and spin. But it really touched my heart to recognize.
That is so sweet.
The signs of like what depression could look like, even for a 13-year-old.
Yes.
I remember growing up hearing, you don't have any problems. You're a kid. You have nothing to worry about. You don't have any bills, no responsibilities. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Wow. That is so sweet that he was able to, I love that he was able to recognize that, Kita, because we didn't have that growing up, you know? I mean, so just like having those conversations with your children, and just, you know, in general, and for children to say, I think something isn't right, you know, and even though he said, I'm just a teenager, but for him to, like you said, to recognize those signs, like, maybe my brother needs, you know, a little support. And I love that. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So this goes at all ages, right? As living, breathing human beings, we have mental health. Doesn't matter what age. So it's important to know the signs too, to look out for your people as well.
Yes. Do you want to go over briefly, like, what are some common signs of someone who is suffering with, you know, depression or anxiety? You know, because like we've been talking about, you know, your son was able to recognize it, but sometimes people are not able to recognize it. So I think it's vital for us to talk about those common signs that someone could miss. So
yeah. What comes to mind when people talk about that is like the strong person syndrome, right? Like it always say check on your strong friends, right? Yes. Because those are the people who have learned to mask so well. And what I tell people too is really listen to people, not just this, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good too. Okay. Right. Like really ask some questions of like, yes, how are you doing? But what was, I'll use this for an example too, with my kiddos checking in at the end of the day. I don't just say like, how was school? Because you're going to get, oh, it's fine. Well, what did you enjoy about school? Right? Who did you sit with at lunch? Right? Like ask some meaningful questions, some deeper, meaningful questions to people, not as a way to be nosy or all up in their business, but really just checking in on people. Because there are a lot of us, and I include myself, because I suffered in silence with depression for a long time, who feel like we have to put on this mask because we're going to be judged, because we haven't been taught that it's okay to not be okay. Right. And that the shame and guilt that comes along with it. Right. So really ask those meaningful questions to your strong friends and strong family members. Also be in tune with changes. Right. To notice, okay, Austin used to come home, used to hang out with us, going in, closing the door. I would say, especially with your teenagers. And I know a lot of changes happen during this time, but be in tune, know who their friends are, know, again, teenagers are probably going to brush you off, but is there an argument that's causing them to feel some type of way about themselves? Self-esteem. Is your child eating less? Is there an eating disorder maybe that is causing, you know, some changes within your family? So I would say pay attention. Also give yourself some grace, because again, there are some people who are just really, really good at masking, and no matter how much you ask, no matter how much you check in, you just wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know. Stay consistent. I would just say stay consistent with your people and connecting with them.
So checking in on your loved ones, like you said, those people who are strong, who, oh, I got it together, you know, or who, you know, who you're thinking, oh, they're good, they don't need help. Those are the ones typically, because everybody's thinking that needs that support. And so that leads me, you know, to the next question too, is you know, as a therapist, you're seeing so many individuals per day. And I always think this, you know, the counselors that I've seen throughout the years, I would sit down and I would talk to them, and I would ask them too. I'd be like, how do you do this? Like, how do you talk to your client after client after client, and then just listening to trauma, you know, like, how do you take care of yourself? How does the therapist take care of yourself, and what keeps you grounded and, you know, maintaining your mental health? So love to hear.
First and foremost, this therapist has a therapist, right?
Yes,
I tell people I'm in therapy, and it's okay for your therapist to have a therapist, because it is a really taxing and emotionally hard job, right? It really is to carry a lot for people while life is still lifing for me, right? So therapy for me for sure is very helpful. Also engaging in new things, like I said, hiking, enjoying nature, getting out, hanging with my girls, getting the laughter, I will be honest, when I first got into this field, it was really hard to leave work at work. And some days it still is hard to leave work because it's just the nature of the job. It's hard. But I realized that was an even more reason why I had to pour into myself.
Right.
the more I had to be intentional about caring for myself, and self-care. I know people like self-care. I wish it was a trip to Hawaii or out on the beach somewhere. But sometimes it is waking up 20 minutes before the house wakes up, having my quiet time, doing my devotional, of course, prayer and connecting with God, right? Spirituality, all things that really just keeps me balanced and keeps me leveled in this work. But
Yes.
being very intentional with self-care.
Yes, putting yourself on the calendar, putting it in pen, not in pencil. You can't erase yourself. Put it in pen, put in permanent marker. So love it. Yes, you got to take care of yourself. Love it. Well, Larkita, we're going to close out with a few more questions for you. Like I said, we could talk about this all day, but we don't have that time. But I would love for you to talk about, your Renew Counseling and Coaching, and talk about that because I know you practice here in Washington State, but like what type of clients are you willing to accept, and your work and how others can reach you if they want to reach out to you.
Currently I'm only taking clients virtually. So I do see clients virtually. I see ages 12 and older. I do sometimes have younger kiddos that come, but I let parents know if they're able to connect virtually, then I will see them. But I normally start at 12 and older. And so, I believe my information will be available, but Renew Coaching and Renew Counseling and Coaching Services. So I have my website that has the contact information. Again, work with trauma, but also specialize in depression, anxiety, life transition. And again, so many things go under that umbrella of trauma work. So I also do a lot of community work as it pertains to youth here in Washington State. So working with a few different organizations, making sure that our youth are getting the care that they need for.
Yes, love it.
Well,
yes, love it. And Larkita, is your information, so your website, are you also available social media to?
Yes.
Can you give us that information as well?
Absolutely. So on Facebook and on Instagram is just Renew Counseling and Coaching. And then I'm also on Psychology Today. And then there is a website called Therapy for Black Girls, based out of Atlanta, but it's nationwide. And so my information is on there as well. And then there's another platform called Christian Counselors. You can find my information on there. And then the last one I'll shout out is Open Path, which is an organization that helps individuals be able to afford counseling. So even if it's not myself, you can get connected with a therapist that offers sessions starting at $40. And so that's a good resource for individuals who are finding it hard to pay out of pocket or situations with their insurance. So you can find me on all of the platforms.
Awesome. And you're making it available for everybody. Love that. Love it. Awesome. Okay, Larkita. So what's next for you? Do you have any engagements, any speaking engagements, anything that's coming up for you?
So currently working again here in the state of Washington. I'm working with a group of young people who last year we were awarded a grant, and they created this mental health project called Care Code. And so we are selling merch with a QR code that people can scan, and it takes you directly to a page where they created resources for young people. And so this year we are doing it again, but we are doing like youth and family mental health workshops and a summit for people to be able to get information for their youth and for their families as a whole, going back to school. So that'll be later on in the fall. So
the fall of this year. Okay, the fall of this year, 2025. Perfect. Awesome. And that's local here in
Seattle.
In Tacoma. Seattle. Okay, Seattle. Perfect. Awesome. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, any shout outs? Any shout outs you want to give?
I want to give a shout out to you, Roshawn.
Oh, thank you, Kita.
You opened up telling me how proud you are of me, but I am extremely proud of you and so honored to be able to walk alongside of you, to see you grow, to see you just blossom into all of what you're doing through your music, your podcast, the mental health and wellness. You're needed. You are needed. And so, my shout out goes to you, girl.
Thank you, girl. Shout out to you for all the work that you're doing as well. I appreciate it, but I appreciate you. And audience, we're going to have Larkita back on probably next season because she is a warrior queen and she definitely has a story to tell. So we're definitely gonna have her back on today. We just had her come on as a therapist and give us some good nuggets today, some golden nuggets that we can use. And I'm super proud of you, Kita, and just keep on doing what you're doing. And girl, we stay connected, and I know we'll be working together. Yep. So I appreciate you, and I just love all the things that you're doing. So we have like 3 minutes left. So I want to play this quick little game. I know we ran over today, but today was an episode that was needed for the community to hear just all of the amazing advice that you gave us today. So yes, very, very needed. But we're going to transition, just kind of breathe in, breathe out. Okay. But just to get to know just a little bit more about you. And this is Would You Rather, or this or that. It's called either one. So I'll give you 2 choices and you'll tell me your choice and why. So when I was doing this, Kita, I'm like, what should I write for my girl? Like, what should I was like, I don't know, because some of the answers I was like, oh, I think I know, but okay. So this one is, would you rather watch Netflix or YouTube? Something on Netflix or YouTube. Okay.
YouTube. I'm a YouTube watcher. Yeah, I'm into vlogs right now. Okay. I'm trying to get into fitness, getting back to the gym. So I'm learning a lot through the University of YouTube is what I call it.
Yes. Love it. Yes, because you do have a fitness and health Instagram. I saw that. Yes. Love it. Okay. All right. This one, which one do you prefer, journaling or reading?
I would say journaling.
Okay.
I would say journaling. Yeah. I feel like I'm trying to get better at reading, but my mind tends to wander. So I feel like with journaling, it's okay for my mind to wander, right? It's like write all the wandering things down. So yeah, journaling.
Love it. Journaling. Love it. Okay. This next one, what are you? So would you prefer quality time or words of affirmation?
Both.
Okay, I was gonna say or both. Yeah.
I would say words of affirmation. Right.
Okay.
I think that kind of sticks to my heart a little bit more. Right. The words of affirmation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Words of affirmation. Yeah. Okay. Kind of some love language there. So. All right. I think I know the answers to this one, but we'll see. So, would you rather host dinner, so have people come over, or be a guest at dinner? I think I know the.
I'm gonna show up for dinner.
I was like, I know the answer to this. Yep.
I'd rather be a guest. Yeah.
Okay. Be a guest. That's what I thought. Okay. Yep. Be a guest at dinner. Okay. Love it. Well, Larkita, I did a good job calling you Larkita. I think I called you Larkita a couple times, but yes. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the show today, girl. We're going to have you on again, as like I said, sharing your story, but also even just more information because like we said, it's needed and we need to spread more awareness. So yes, but thank you for all the work that you're doing, my friend. I appreciate you. Love you.
Love you, girl. Thank you.
And thanks for coming on. So, and we'll chat and we'll figure out a time for you to come back. So
sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, friends. Well, I'm so glad that you made it to the end. If you have, thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope that you found this episode educational, insightful, encouraging, inspiring. If you know someone who would benefit from this information, please share it with them. Please get the word out. That is what Larkita's job is just to let others know that there is hope and healing. And that is what I'm doing as well. So please spread this awareness and this message. So I want to give A thank you to the producer of the show, and that's Dr. Teresa Jordan. I appreciate you. A special thank you to Larkita Demps. Go check her out, all of her information. Go follow her, hit her up if you would like to get some support. She is available for speaking as well, and also for, like she said, her free consultation. So please hit her up. And I also want to encourage you, if you're looking for any mental health merch, she also has merch. I also have merch on my website. I have a Warrior Stronger collection, and I also have an I Am Free collection. Go on my website, and that's Roshawn Nicole merch. I also have mental health music if you need some inspiration to just cheer you up or to brighten your day, or some encouragement. My story, I share it through my music as well. So you can find that on all streaming platforms or wherever you get your music. Also, you can go to my YouTube channel at Roshawn Nicole as well and check that out. So just want to give you some love, sending you some love and some encouragement on today. I appreciate you for listening or for watching. Stay tuned. Come back next week. And I just want to encourage you on today to stay lit, keep shining, and keep igniting freedom. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to From Weeping to Warrior, Igniting Freedom with Roshawn Nicole. To be a guest on the show, please contact us at info@RoshawnNicoleWellness.com. We would love to connect with you, so please take a moment to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms. We look forward to having you join us next time for Weeping to Warrior, Igniting Freedom with Roshawn Nicole.